Hello, my name is Julia, and I'm a Girl Scout in Southern Alabama. The following video is a part of my Girl Scout Gold Award project entitled Prevent Pet Overpopulation. In this project, I held an assembly at my school which featured speaker Rea Cord, who is the Executive Director of the Humane Society of Elmore County. We addressed the issue of domestic animal overpopulation and how individuals like you can make a difference. I hope that you enjoy the video and will join me in improving this issue in our community. Thank you.
But of course, we're there for homeless and unwanted animals. We really should be there for animals that are lost or have somehow sadly been neglected. The unwanted piece is becoming a bit of a challenge as owners just say it's not convenient here, you take it. So, my shelter right now, when I left, and who knows what's come in the drive over here, as of today, there's 351 animals in our shelter that we're taking care of. So I always kid, especially with the younger, how who scoops litter boxes in here if you have cats? Fun stuff. Okay, think about that because in the shelter, 351, about 214 of those are cats and kittens. Every one of them is using litter boxes. So, when you kind of think, this is Shelter Appreciation Week, ironically enough, and that's really cool. So I thank you for that, Julia. Every morning in every shelter in the country starts the same way. The staff, what are you walking into? Think about it. There's 300 some animals in confinement. That's why a lot of times you have people show up at 8 o'clock, oh, look at animals. I'm like, no, we're cleaning up ready, okay? Because there is a whole lot of cleaning and disinfecting and things that are going on in shelters. So why are we there? Well, obviously, strays. That's kind of what shelters were built for. Under government kind of rules is to take strays off the street so that there's not a safety hazard to the community. And of course, under the rabies control laws, for you that are a little older, maybe doing government, that's kind of what actually, under laws, under the Code of Alabama, is why shelters exist. And that's to take animals out of the community that might be presenting a danger or a safety issue, like running out in front of your car. None of us enjoy hitting an animal in a car, whether it's a dog, a deer, a bird, anything like that. Over the years, as the sheltering world kind of moved into more of a private people working, which is what our shelter, all of the shelters in our area, because some people think we're government, they think that we're part of the county. None of the shelters in our area are county. We are what's called private nonprofits with government contracts. So we are private, we're 501c3s. That's why when people give us donations of money, food, anything, we can give them a tax donation receipt if they need it for their tax purposes. All of us, the three in the Tri-County area, we have a contract with our local governments to be their sheltering agency. So their animal control officers, or you as a citizen of the county that finds a dog or something, can bring it to us, and we will do the sheltering part, which means we're going to care for them. If it's a stray, we are taking on what is called the stray hold period to do our best to try to get that pet reunited with a family. In Alabama, that's 7 days. So there's a 7-day stray hold, take a stray in, that we're going to keep it safe and go through all our loss reports and check it for microchips, and we're all over Facebook because those lost and found pages are generally, like the one for Elmore County is run by us. And so, now I can't stay on Facebook, we have to be there, we're pretty active in there. And so our first goal is to get a pet reunited with a family. If any of you had a lost pet that you were able to get back from a shelter, I would hope your family did. That's the first goal. I would much rather get a pet back home to its owner than have to go find a whole brand new home for it. But and then we're going to care for them. Now, if an injured animal comes in, and unfortunately that's not an uncommon scenario, it does not sit there for 7 days injured. It's going straight to a vet. We get them in all kinds of injuries, hit by cars, things like that. In my shelter, they're going to be taken to a vet immediately to get the pain relief they need, to get assessed, to hold them there on pain relief, and hopefully give time for an owner to look for them. If it's really a grievous injury, we may hold with the vet a day or two, but not 7. If it's too far, we'll make a humane decision at that point. But it will go to a veterinarian, because we're not vets. None of the shelters in our area, and very few, until you get into big cities and much bigger areas, have veterinarians as their staff. Veterinarians are in short supply these days and high demand, so most of us can't afford to have a vet. So we're very lucky that local vets are often very supportive of shelters and give us a hand as they can help fit our animals in. So we've got all these animals in our care. We're trying to hopefully get them back to the owner, but then nobody shows up. Or some owners know they're there and tell us they're just not coming in, they don't want them anymore. So they're ours. What do we do after that? Well, now, once these animals are ours, and it's going to be in all of our shelters, 99% dogs and cats. We still take in small animals, what they call pocket pets, guinea pigs, rabbits, things like that. Livestock, not too much, because we have no place for it. None of our shelters really have, a farm where we can put livestock. So that's kind of a whole other issue. And wildlife cannot come into our area shelters either, because that's a different, to do rehabilitation or do anything with wildlife requires a license by the State Department of Conservation, and none of us are licensed for that. Our facilities are not adequate for wildlife. So unfortunately, we can't help there. We will try to direct people to resources, which have become a rather thin resource in our state, to get help for those animals if possible. So dogs and cats, snakes, birds, mostly guinea pigs, rabbits are the 2 most common, and thank goodness the potbelly pig craze kind of left, because we took in way too many of those a few years ago. So now we're going to work towards adoption or a transfer to a rescue partner. We are all shelters, we all work with private rescues that tend to specialize in breeds. So you might have a Boston Terrier rescue, there's a couple of them up in Birmingham, they're wonderful groups. And so we can work with them for that maybe 10-year-old Boston Terrier that came in or something like that. And I'll tell you, in my shelter, some people might go, well, why didn't you put up for adoption? There's 351 animals there today, and I will tell you, for November, that's incredibly high numbers. Our numbers should be coming down. It's normally a bell curve. So in January and February, we're at our lowest numbers, and then it just starts climbing. Anybody I just love to hear one word, why? Litters upon litters upon litters. So those numbers start climbing as we get into spring and summer, and we are overwhelmed in litters of kittens after kittens, and then puppies as well. Puppies do tend to come about 12 months of the year. Kittens tend to be compressed in a 3-month window, at least they used to. I don't know what's going on, but we are still taking in kittens in numbers that we're seeing in the summer. It's a little weird. Because by now we should be kind of running out of kittens, but we are not. So we take them all in, and then it all starts. An animal that comes into our shelter is going to be vaccinated when it walks in the door. Now, if it's obviously super healthy adult collar tags, we're not doing that, because we're calling an owner immediately, and chances are it's well vaccinated. But when it comes to puppies and kittens, especially young animals, 90% chance they've never had a vaccine in their life, and neither does their parent. We know that statistically. So they come in and they're not protected from anything. Shelters are kind of like schools. When y'all started early this year, did everybody end up with the sniffles the first week, 2, something like that, because everybody came back from summer and now you're all back together? Kind of the same thing happens in shelters. You've got all of these animals coming from very different places, and they're all now in a facility where they're all breathing the same air, and so you've got issues with trying to keep everybody healthy, and it can be challenging. So we vaccinate to do our very best to get protection started quickly. Vaccinations don't give protection the second they're given. It can take a few days before they have protection. And then we're caring for them, and we're feeding them, and we're doing all that, and they get multiple vaccinations. Young animals do with us. They're going to get vaccinated every 2 weeks to try to help booster that they stay healthy. And then we start also doing assessments of behavior, especially with the adult animals, to start seeing what is their personality about, so that we can help place them in a wonderful family. We might assess our dogs, and let's say, do they eat cats or like cats? Because many of you want a dog, but you also love cats, like me. And so we don't want to send a dog to your house that's going to attack your cat. Those things are real with animals, they just happen. We get animals in that maybe have never been around small children, especially older small animals, smaller dogs that we're getting from people that are up in years that weren't able to keep them. And so we have to kind of make sure, because we certainly never want to send out an animal that is not safe for children. So we're doing all of that to make sure that what animals we adopt out to the community are safe for you and your neighbors and your community, and that they're healthy so that you don't have a problem. And, you start out with a healthy pet and it stays that way. Adoptions, I will tell you that we've stayed with, and most all shelters have stayed with an appointment type system because from COVID. COVID was, of course, a big deal to all of us. And the only way we could stay operating with people coming to meet animals was we went to an appointment system to keep everybody, separated. We found out, here's what we found out, that works so much better. Some people are a little frustrated, they're used to the old way, they just want to waltz in, I want to look. It's hard to help people because this tendency that happens in anybody that works in retail or ever has until you guys, either nobody's there, everybody comes at the exact same time. It's weird. I can't explain it, but it's very real. So the appointment system helps us help people better. It helps us keep maybe somebody surrendering an animal that is unsafe a little bit separate from people that are there with their family to meet a pet. Because we do take in animals that are not friendly, aggressive, they're not safe. So we kind of want to know we've got this coming in, and let's not have a family walking across the parking lot at the same time. Because we're not that big, and so everything kind of takes place in my shelter. Right there, the office is everything. It's lunch, it's the phone, it's adoptions, it's intake, it's kind of everything. A little bit the same with Prattville. Montgomery's a little bit more spread out, a bigger shelter. And so we have found that we can help people a lot better that way. We do an application, and in that application, it helps us help them because they can tell us about themselves. So instead of just saying, I want Julie the dog, well, okay, what about your family? Well, we find out they have cats, so Julie eats cats, so yeah, Julie's not going to work for you. And so, or they live in an apartment, and we need to check with the apartment, and they got a size limit. No, you can't have a 70-pound shepherd there, or they have a breed restriction. And as many of you juniors and seniors are stepping out to college, deal with that a lot with college students. Like Auburn's about the most open of any area there is on having the least breed restrictions in size. But other areas, no. You can have 20 pounds is the limit, or very common is no power breeds, no bullies, no pit bulls, no German shepherds, no mastiffs, all those kind of things. So adoption involves a little bit more, of course, because we're trying to help you make a good match. And we say that because we know that a lot of the owners surrendered animals that we get is because they got them easily and free. There's a lot of animals, it's not hard to get one down here in the South, is it? Get on Facebook selling a puppy and you'll get offered about 48 of them. But sometimes people aren't quite thinking about lifestyle, family, where they live, and then they end up with a pet that is really just not a good fit. It doesn't work well. It's causing problems with the neighbors. It's not working with the other animals. So that's what we're going to try to do. And we have a lot of experience. I've now been there almost 20 years. I've got other staff with similar experience. And we know the animals in our care. I mean, we're dealing with them every day, so we do kind of know their personalities and know their energy levels. And so if people will let us help them, then it works. It really does. Sadly, intake across the country is on an upswing where dogs are concerned. In the sheltering world, there's a lot of kind of lamentation because, and it's economy driven, but especially the larger sized dogs, their intake is definitely up. Ours is up about 9%. Cats is up about 2%. But cats, weirdly enough, about 3 years ago in my shelter, they became the higher percentage intake. Weird. It's running about 51% cats, 49% dogs, so we seem to see a shift a little bit. But dogs are coming in all shelters, in all rescue groups across the country, and that would be great, except adoptions are not keeping pace. Adoptions are definitely down across the entire country. The whole animal welfare industry talks about it, is talking about it a lot, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But basically, I would assume you have an economics class here, or there's an econ teacher, but that's the word, the economy. When the economy gets tough, animal intake will generally go up, especially dogs. Back in 2008, since I'm now been there a long time, I can tell you the same thing happened, and our dog intake went up about 15% because people couldn't afford, or they had to move someplace where those large dogs aren't allowed. They had to move back in with mom and dad. They had to downsize to an apartment, or y'all are nice and young, but one of us are getting a whole lot older, and there's a lot more of us. Well, guess what? A lot of people, once you get up in age, yeah, I used to love I had a 240-pound dog, and I love him to death. Do I want another 240-pound dog right now? Maybe not. And a lot of people, as we get older, downsize their dogs. It's like, well, 70-pound dog yanking me down the road doesn't work so well. So now when we work, we have on a Chihuahua and one dachshund, and that's understandable. So about 75% of the people come to our shelter for a dog, they want tiny, they want under 20 pounds. Well, that's only a couple percent of our intake, so it's kind of tough. And a lot of the little dogs we very rarely get small dog puppies or young. Most of them are going to be senior dogs, older, 8, 10, 12 years old, because unfortunately, their family member can't care for them anymore, and maybe they're elderly, they've gone to a nursing home, or there's other issues. So, it's a challenge. Cats, we adore cats. I have 5 of my own, I love them, but I wish I could never see a kitten again because they come in such numbers. So when I told you we have kitten season, literally we have days where 20, 30, up to 40 animals in a day are coming in our shelter. Now, so I need you to think about that. That's why I concentrate on trying to get through, and I left there some things about the numbers that are coming in. There's a lot of expectations on shelters from the public who doesn't understand. We are not miracle workers, and we're not there on the road. We're not out there on the road with a big sign saying, bring us your animals. So think about 30 to 40 animals, let's say 20 a day, 6 days a week, walking into your house. I mean, we may be good and we have connections, but this is happening in shelters everywhere. So if I took in 20 or 30, Montgomery took in 40 or 50, Prattville took in 15, I mean, we all have up and down days. My highest has been 60-something in a day. That's not fun, I'll tell you that right now. So, what can you all do? Because I know I gotta wrap this up. Now, many of you are getting ready to go out on your own, and you new pet owners. Do your homework. Make sure you're going to be able to take care of it. Take a look at what the costs are. Pet food is going up. Everything's going up, isn't it? I mean, food for us is going up. Vet care is going up. So maybe you can afford 1, but not 3. Things like that. If you do your homework first, kind of make sure you're ready. And also I have been where you were, hard to believe, I know. And I remember being in college and I adored dogs, but I knew I really couldn't do it. Not the way I was living in rental and moving, and life looked like I was going to be moving on. So I held off of having a dog because I knew it wasn't going to work. So that's going to be the way you can help. Of course, stay here, we can talk about that 100 hours a day. But just kind of think ahead before you add a pet to your family or to yourself about, is it going to really, can you do for it what it needs, and is it going to work in your lifestyle? Now, I think you told.
Before you go, I wanted to share one more resource with you. This is an infographic that I created for this project. It contains more information about this issue, like facts and statistics, and also opportunities for you to help. It also includes the contact information for the Alabama Animal Alliance, which is a low-cost spay and neuter clinic in Montgomery. It also includes the contact information for the Elmore County and Autauga County Humane Societies. The link to this infographic will be available in this video and in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that we can work together to be a part of the solution.